Hey everybody, how you doing today? Today we're making some pesto stuffed chicken breasts, and I'm going to be putting some red bell peppers in there, some onions, a little bit of bacon, and a little bit of broccoli, and we're going to roll it up and we're going to pan sear it on the stove and then pop it in the oven and create a little bit of a pan sauce for you to finish it off. It's delicious. So I'm Rockin' Robin, and I'm going to show you how to make it right after this. All right, so let's hit those ingredients and go over them for you. First up, we have some chicken breasts. I have 3 here. These are pretty nice and big, and you want to use chicken breasts for this, obviously, because you can get them nice and thin and flat, and then we can roll them easily with all our goodies inside. All right, so inside we're going to be adding some onion. I have the superfine dice here, some chopped broccoli, diced up red bell pepper, some bacon that I've already cooked and chopped up so it's ready to go. And I do have a video for you if you want to know how to make bacon. A lot of people do. I'll leave a link for you down in the description of the video, along with the written recipe for this recipe. All right, we'll need some mozzarella cheese. I have some pesto. I made some homemade pesto, and I have a video for you if you want to make that. We'll need some chicken broth, a balsamic reduction. That's what I have here in this bottle that I made. I will leave a link for you for that video if you want to know how to make your own, or you can buy a good quality balsamic vinegar that's nice and syrupy, because that's what you want to use in this recipe. We'll need some garlic powder, olive oil, salt, and pepper. So to start our recipe, we have to start with our chicken. Now, you saw how thin it was, but what I'm doing here is I am taking some plastic wrap, placing it on top, and taking a rolling pin, because there's a bigger surface here in which to pound out the chicken breast. You want it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick so that we can roll it up. And so you just pound it out, kind of like this, kind of just pushing away, kind of spreading it out. Now I have my pesto heating up in the microwave just to, get it spreadable, because I had it frozen because I had made mine. And now we're going to move into cooking up our veggies a little bit. We want them to have a little bit of softness, mellow out the flavors a little bit before we actually fill our chicken breast. All right, so we're over here at our stove. I've got a cast iron frying pan, which is what we want to use for this, because it just puts on a nice sear. It just cooks things up with just a little more flavor. There's something about using cast iron that's just fantastic. I'm preheating my pan here over medium heat just to get things going. I'll turn it down just a little bit now and add my oil. I'm using olive oil here, just a little bit. So I want to make sure I coat the pan here. You can see I think you can see the little lines that you start seeing in the heat in the oil as it heats up. We're going to toss in our onions. Oh yeah, got a good sizzle going there. Here's our bell pepper and our broccoli. And we're gonna cook this for, 6-7 minutes, something like that. It's gonna soften this down a little bit. It's gonna cook it down a little bit so we can actually get more of it into our chicken breast, which will be nice. I'm gonna sprinkle in a little bit of garlic powder here. And just a touch of salt. And we'll check back at this at about 8 minutes or so, 7 or 8 minutes, but I'm going to keep tossing and turning it. In fact, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit because it cooled the pan down when I added all the ingredients. All right, it's been about 7-8 minutes. You can see how it's softened up down here. So we're going to take this out of the pan, and I'm going to put it in a bowl, because then we're going to go assemble our chicken breast. Now, if you happen to make too much of this, no problem. If you can't fit it all in your chicken, then you can save it and you can use this in your egg scramble in the next morning. So if you like what you've seen so far in my video, go ahead and click the subscribe button. We'd love to have you, and the bell. That way you'll be notified every week when my new videos come out, and I don't want you to miss any. All right, so back to our chicken. Here we go. I take this saran wrap off. You're also going to need some butcher's string or butcher's twine, which is what I have here. I asked the butcher at my store, I said, can I buy some of that? And he said, oh, I'll just give you some. So that was really cool. I'm going to take some of my homemade pesto sauce here, and I'm going to put about a tablespoon on each piece, and we're going to spread it out. Man, this stuff smells fantastic. You guys, you got to try and make some of this and follow my video on it. It's awesome. It's delicious, healthy, and fresh. That's what I love about it. All right, so 3 3 little cubes. When I made the pesto, I put it in the ice cube tray, and I took out 3 for this, so that worked out beautifully. So next up is our vegetables. I'm going to take a little spoonful of that and do the same thing. I'm just going to spread it out. You don't want to do too much because then it's going to be really difficult to roll, but you want to get a little bit everywhere. My oven is preheating 350 degrees, but first we do have to do our little sear on the stove. We're going to go back to that cast iron pan and sear these up. Then we'll take some bacon, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of bacon on top. All right, now for the tough part, rolling them up. So do the best you can. Just, grab it and just start rolling nice and tight. It's going to turn out pretty thick. That's okay, and some of the stuff may even fall out. That's no big deal either. Okay, now for our string. Just got to get it underneath this. And you just want to tie it, snug so that it doesn't fall apart in the pan when we're searing it. Because these are so big, I'm going to put 2 under each one just to really help it stay together. I'm going to trim off these excess pieces of string just so they're out of my way. Put a little salt on there and just a little bit of pepper. All right, I'm going to drop just a little bit of oil into the pan. You can see it's pretty darn hot right now. I'm going to turn it down. Once a cast iron pan gets hot, I tell you, it stays hot. So now I'm turning it down to low, just because I don't want it to burn. All right, so we're going to set these in nice and gentle like. Seam side down. Yeah, you want to hear that sizzle, okay? I'm going to let that sear for maybe 1 to 2 minutes, something like that. Now, if things get crazy and start splattering all over, I love this thing here. Nice Splatter Guard. You can set it right on top and keep the splatter to a minimum. All right, so we've had about 2.5 minutes or so on the sear here. Let's see if we can turn these over without too much of an incident, right? Anything leaking out? Start with this one. Not too bad. Got a nice little crust going on there. You can see that. That's just more flavor. There goes our second one, looking beautiful. Okay, we'll sear the second side for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll show you the next step. We had a couple of more minutes here on this second side. Yeah. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on this other side here, just a sprinkle, and just a crack of pepper. Got the heat down. I've turned it to low now. I have this little bit of vegetable mixture here. I'm just going to toss it in the bottom of the pan. What the heck? More flavor for our sauce. So I'm going to add some chicken broth to this. And I want to give that a stir with my wooden spoon. Let's see if we can't move these guys over just a little bit so we can kind of scrape up the bottom of the pan, because there's those brown bits. That's where the flavor is, right? Now, I've got my balsamic reduction here that I'm going to take the lid off first, of course. And I'm going to put some in there, probably about probably a couple teaspoons full. Then we're going to give it a stir. I'm going to add a pinch of salt to this. And we're going to place this in the oven, 350 degrees for about, we'll check it at 15 minutes, but it's probably going to go 20. These are nice and thick, so they're going to have to cook a little longer, but we're just going to set this whole thing just right in the middle of the oven. So I'm checking the chicken at 15 minutes. You want to use an instant read thermometer, although that's, because it's rolled, it's a little deceiving. But we can at least get an idea where we're at. I think I need to go a little longer on this, so I'm going to go another 5 minutes. So I haven't added my cheese. I was going to put cheese on one of these. So I'm going to do that now during the last 5 minutes. That way it won't melt so much and just run to the bottom of the pan. Hopefully it won't do that still. So I'm just going to put a little bit of cheese on top. All right, so I took the chicken out at 20 minutes, and putting the cheese on during the last 5 minutes is the way to go. That way it stays on top of your chicken and doesn't just melt and end up down in the pan, okay? And yeah, let's give this a taste. I'm gonna take one of these out of here. Remember to cut off your string, right? You don't wanna serve it with string on there. And then we'll add some of that beautiful sauce. You gotta try this, guys. So delicious. Man, that is really tasty. I love the bacon and the onions, you know, mixed in there with the pesto sauce. Very, very delicious. Very flavorful. That sauce has that hint of sweetness to it. So guys, I hope you try my pesto stuffed chicken and share it with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And let me know if you're gonna make this down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.